There is a total of 5 unique killers in Forsaken, each having their own stats, abilities, and playstyles. While each one of them can be good when used properly, certain killers are definitely better than others. So, in this video, I'll be taking a close look at the capabilities and weaknesses of each killer, then ranking them on a tier list. Hit that like button and subscribe, and let's get started. For our first killer, we have the OG, Jason. Jason is likely the most simple killer in Forsaken, having a 2-star difficulty and excelling in punishing mistakes. They have 1,250 health, a walk speed of 9, a sprint speed of 28, and a terror radius of 45 studs. Terror radius is how close a killer can get before their chase theme starts playing, which warns survivors of their presence. 45 is below average, with most other killers having a terror radius of at least 60. This makes it easier for Jason to sneak up on survivors, which is very beneficial for his moveset. His first ability is Slash, where he attacks forward with his machete. It deals 20 damage and has a windup of 0.2 seconds, which is the second fastest move in the game. It has a cooldown of 1.9 seconds and inflicts bleeding 1 for 5 seconds, which deals an extra 8 damage. It has an infamously long hitbox, which combined with his fast windup makes it quite easy to hit. Sometimes it can feel impossible to dodge his attacks. His second ability is Behead, where he performs a slight lunge and a wide horizontal swing. It deals 20 damage and inflicts Helpless 1 for 14 seconds. Helpless prevents the user from activating any of their abilities, so it can be quite oppressive. After using Behead, Jason gets Slowness 1 for 2 seconds, making it quite punishing to miss. His third ability is Gashing Wound, where he deals a total of 50 damage through a series of brutal slashes. This move is difficult to land, completely stopping the user's movement and having a lot of end lag, but in return is one of the most punishing moves in the game. It has a cooldown of 40 seconds. Finally, his last ability is Raging Pace. Once activated, the nearest survivor will be highlighted, and Jason receives a continuous walk speed of 19.5. During this, he does not drain any stamina, regaining it until he reaches 70. After that, he will start to lose stamina. He also becomes enraged, buffing the damage of all of his moves. Slash deals 25 damage and launches Jason forward. Behead deals 35 damage, and Gashing Wound deals a whopping 70 damage. Jason is the highest damage dealing killer in the game, with his Gashing Wound often dealing at least 50% of a survivor's health, and if used skillfully, it can be almost impossible to juke their attacks due to how quick they are and the generous hitbox. Behead is also a great option, as the lunge attack is quick and unexpected and can allow you to land an easy hit when survivors would otherwise think you're out of range. The smaller terror radius also lets him sneak up on survivors that are working on generators, which works fantastically with his Gashing Wound ability. Because it's so hard to land, you can only really use it if a survivor isn't paying attention or if you've managed to corner them. Otherwise, it's too difficult to connect and it's too punishing to miss. However, it works fantastically against a guest or any survivor that misses an ability against you. The survivor will have a ton of end lag, and Gashing Wound is the strongest punish move in the game, so in this cases it can be very useful. Raging Pace can also help him deal with survivors that are looping him, as you regain stamina while using it up until 70. So you can chase after a survivor, and once you run out of stamina, enter a Raging Pace and keep walking after them, now with an increased speed. Once you reach 70 stamina, use your slash attack to lunge forward, then keep running after them. Jason has a very simple playstyle, focusing on chasing survivors and mainly spamming his slash since it's so good. But you can throw in his other abilities, catching people off guard and dealing way more damage. With all these tools, Jason can be very scary to face, as it can be difficult to shake him off your tail, and he can deal an insane amount of damage in a matter of seconds, but unfortunately he does have many issues. Primarily is the fact that he gets so easily looped. While Raging Pace can slightly help him regain his stamina, he has such a hard time catching up. You'll often spend most of the game simply trying to get in range of anyone, and considering he doesn't have a single projectile, he's basically helpless against a good team. He also gets absolutely bullied by other sentinels even if he isn't trying to kill them. Because he has no effective means of closing distance, if he gets stunned by another survivor, the person he's chasing can easily get away, and he has almost no hope of catching up to them. This is why he excels against uncoordinated teams, because if he can manage to stay in range of a survivor, it's extremely difficult to juke his attacks and he will likely get the kill. But against any form of teamwork, your boy's getting cooked. Therefore, I'm gonna have to rank him as a low B tier. I quite enjoy playing Jason just because he can be so scary, but damn, he struggles against good teams. For our next killer, we have my personal favorite, John Doe. In stark contrast to Jason, they are one of the most technical and strategic killers in the game, having a 5-star difficulty. He has 1,500 health, a walk speed of 9, a sprint speed of 27.25, and a terror radius of 60 studs. He has 2 passive abilities, with his first one being Natural Malevolence. He leaves a trail of corruption behind him as he walks, which if any survivor steps into, inflicts him with Corrupted 2 for 3 seconds, which deals a bit of gradual damage. His second passive ability is Unstoppable. If John Doe is using the ability Corrupt Energy or 404 Error, which I'll talk about what they do later, he can only be stunned for 2 seconds. He also receives Speed 1 for 4 seconds, letting him punish anyone who tried to stun him. His first ability is Slash, where John Doe uses his claws to attack in front of him. This deals 28 damage and has a windup of 0.4 seconds. Without considering status effects, this is the strongest slash in the game. It also has the same hitbox as Jason, so sometimes it can feel unreasonably long. It has a cooldown of 1.75 seconds. His second ability is Corrupt Energy. After a decent windup, a line of 27 giant spikes will sequentially appear, dealing damage to any survivor hit and forming a wall. You can aim this attack with the spikes appearing wherever you are facing. If a survivor is hit, John Doe will receive Speed 1 for 7 seconds. They will also become highlighted to the killer in case you accidentally hit someone. Survivors can be hit up to 4 times, with each spike dealing 12 damage. damage, so you can deal a potential 48 damage with this ability. It has a cooldown of 18 seconds. His third ability is Digital Footprint. John stomps on the ground 3 times, creating a shadow trap. If a survivor walks into this trap, they will receive slowness 2 and corrupted 1 for 10 seconds. On top of that, John receives speed 1 for 10 seconds and the survivor becomes highlighted. So if someone walks into your trap, they're usually dead. You can place up to 3 traps at a time and they despawn after 165 seconds or if someone comes into contact with them. His final ability is 404 Error, which serves as his method of finding survivors. It highlights everyone on the map for 4 seconds and has a cooldown of 20 seconds. John takes a lot of experience to play. Unlike Jason, you can't just blindly run at survivors and attack with your slash. You will get looped and you will lose. You need to take full advantage of your abilities, especially your traps. These traps can be used to cut off powerful loops that survivors could otherwise abuse, making it much easier for you to catch up with them. You can also cut off loops using your spikes, so the combination of this and your traps makes John Doe pretty good at catching up to survivors. Also, the spikes recently got buffed, making them appear much quicker. Since they can be aimed extremely accurately, if you're in a corner or a closed space, you're most likely taking a ton of damage. They are extremely hard to avoid, and even if you do avoid them, you might end up trapped with John Doe. There's another neat trick you can do with John, sometimes referred to as parrying. If you notice a survivor is using a stunning ability, you can quickly either use Corrupt Energy or Error 404, and you will only get stunned for 2 seconds and get some nice speed. So you can turn stunning into an advantage for yourself, and it feels so cool to do this. However, he is unfortunately very map dependent. On maps like Horror Hotel, there are a lot of really good spots to place traps, preventing survivors from accessing certain areas. But on Planet Voss, it is almost completely open, so you can't stop them at all. It's also not nearly as easy to land his slash attacks as it is on Jason, since they come out twice as slow. Therefore, they're much easier to juke. He is definitely the hardest killer to play in the game, but if you can master him, he has a ton of awesome tools to clear out lobbies. The spike can deal insane damage and cut off paths, the traps can doom someone who walks into them or prevent access to certain areas, and his unstoppable ability makes him quite resistant to stuns if you have quick reaction time. I'm gonna rank him as a high A tier, but do remember he is quite map dependent. On certain maps, he's unstoppable, and on others, he'll struggle a bit, but he's never terrible. For our next killer, we have Cool Kid. Cool Kid has a fast attacking playstyle, applying constant pressure to survivors and dealing huge damage. He has a 3-star difficulty, but that's cap. He's at most a 2-star, having a pretty simple playstyle and moveset. He has 800 health, a walk speed of 7.5, a sprint speed of 28, and a terror radius of 60 studs. His first ability is Punch, which deals 26.5 damage and has a windup of 0.1 seconds. It has a cooldown of 2 seconds. It has a uniquely short hitbox, but this is made up by the fact that it has the shortest windup in the game, appearing almost instantly. His second ability is Corrupt Nature. Cool Kid immediately throws out a projectile, which can travel through walls and survivors. If a survivor is hit by it, they take 15 damage and are inflicted by slowness 1 for 4 seconds. Their aura is also revealed to Cool Kid for 10 seconds. It has a medium range, but eventually disappears. Their third and most broken ability is Walk Speed Override. After a 1-second windup, Cool Kid launches forward for 1.34 seconds. This can travel a huge distance, but cannot be steered. So if you miss your target, bye-bye. When hitting a survivor, the lunge will end, and Cool Kid deals 30 damage and inflicts Burning 1 for 8 seconds, resulting in a total of 45 damage. It also ends prematurely if you crash into a wall or obstacle. This ability has a cooldown of 20 seconds. His final ability is Pizza Delivery, which summons 2 pizza delivery bots. These bots automatically seek out the closest survivor walking towards them. If they hit a survivor, they deal 15 damage and inflict Burning 1 and Slowness 2 for 3 seconds, resulting in a total of 20 damage. Once hitting a survivor, they immediately fade away. The survivor also becomes highlighted for 15 seconds. This is Cool Kid's method of finding survivors, as he has to see what direction the bots are headed and go along that way. These bots can be killed using a variety of attacking abilities. The ability has a cooldown of 50 seconds. Cool Kid is an absolute unstoppable menace. He has everything you could ever ask for on a killer. His punch is the fastest attack in the game, so some can argue is even better than Jason despite the smaller hitbox. If Cool Kid is close enough and they have more than 3 brain cells, you will not be able to juke them. Every hit will guaranteed connect. Then, the projectile is not only a really quick, low commitment projectile that deals a decent chip damage, it also slows down survivors. So if you're getting looped around a rock or can't catch up to someone, hitting them with this projectile can often mean they're just gonna die. But oh my goodness, do not sleep on Walk Speed Override. While it does have a windup, you travel extremely quickly and has the biggest, most bullshit hitbox in the game. You can often hit people through walls just because of how massive it is. It's extremely easy to land, and 45 total damage is insane. And then it only has a 20-second recovery, so you can use it all the time. It also works great for catching up to survivors due to its speed and long distance. You can cover a significant portion of the map using this ability. Its one flaw is the fact you can't steer it, so be careful if you're near a corner. The survivor can quickly turn and you will most likely completely lose them. Then on top of everything he has 2 minions walking around, potentially cutting off escape routes and constantly finding survivors. They are easy to avoid, but sometimes they will come out of nowhere as you're too focused on the killer. A funny weakness with Cool Kid is his low health, as very rarely, and I mean extremely rarely, you can kill him, but don't count on this happening. However, since he can struggle to find survivors, if the last man standing is a noob or 007, 7, it can be extremely difficult to get that last kill. If the survivor perfectly times an invis so they aren't automatically highlighted, you have to simply wait for the clones to slowly find their location. And even if you find their location, if it's a 007, they may teleport to the other side of the map and then you're screwed. But if you just make sure not to leave these specific characters for last, you should be fine. I'm ranking him as an easy S tier like he's always been. I'm not sure why they refuse to nerf this guy harder, but he stays dominant and easy to play. If you are new to this game and want to start winning, get cool, kid. For our next killer, we have Onex. This is a more projectile based character with a 4-star difficulty rating. They have 1100 health, a walk speed of 8, a sprint speed of 27, and a terror radius of 60. Their first ability is Slash, where they attack forward with their sword. It deals 20 damage and has a windup of 0.4 seconds. It also inflicts a Glitch 1 and Poison 1 for 5 seconds, which deals 8 extra damage, resulting in a total of 28. Glitch causes your screen to flicker and makes it difficult to see. However, this is completely disabled by just enabling the epilepsy option in settings. It has a cooldown of 1.75 seconds. His second ability is Mass Infection. After a 1.7 second windup, Onex slashes forward, sending out a large green shockwave. It lasts for 6 seconds and can travel through walls. Any player hit will take 35 damage and be inflicted with Glitch 1 and Poison 1 for 5 seconds, resulting in a total of 43 damage. The sword itself also deals damage, so if anyone is next to you during the attack, you will deal additional damage and inflict Glitch 2 for 6 seconds and Poison 5 for 3 seconds, resulting in a whopping 75 damage overall. This is the most damage you can deal from a single ability in the game, and nearly one-shots Elliot, leaving him with 5 health. It has a cooldown of 14 seconds. His third ability is Entanglement. After a short windup of 0.75 seconds, a fast but narrow projectile shoots out. It lasts for 10 seconds and can travel through walls. Any survivor hit will take 10 damage and receive slowness 10. The screen is filled with 5 pop-ups, which the user must click on in order to lose their slowness and be able to move again. Otherwise, they are automatically freed after 3 seconds. When hit, they are also given Helpless, which lasts for 10 seconds. In the meantime, Onex gains Speed 2 for 3 seconds and the survivor is highlighted. It has a cooldown of 18 seconds. His fourth ability is Unstable Eye. After standing still for a bit, Onex receives Speed 1 and Blindness 3 for 5 seconds. It also highlights the aura of all nearby survivors during this duration. It has a cooldown of 25 seconds. His final ability is Rejuvenate the Rotten. Onex stabs himself with his sword, resurrecting any survivor that has been killed in the form of rotten zombies. These zombies walk around aimlessly until the survivor gets within 30 studs of them. They will then begin to chase them, dealing 14 damage per hit. These zombies can be killed using a variety of different survivor abilities, but Onex can actually choose to kill their own zombie, which will grant them Speed 1 for 10 seconds. This ability gains a charge for each survivor killed and has a max charge of 1. It also has a cooldown of 200 seconds, so you will likely use this once per game. As you can see, Onex has the most abilities in the game, and in order to win, you're gonna have to use all of them. Due to his extremely slow walk speed, he struggles to catch up with survivors. That's where Entanglement comes into play. If you manage to hit this projectile, you will catch up and almost guarantee get 1 hit, sometimes 2. So it is extremely powerful, especially since it comes out so quickly with hardly any end lag. You should always be trying to use this ability. However, due to its short hitbox, it takes a lot of precision, prediction, and luck. Unstable Eye can help you by giving you speed, but it's pointless to use mid-chase since you stop completely. Only use it if you're trying to find survivors or if you have someone cornered so they can't gain distance while you're using it. Mass Infection can also be a great tool to either chip down survivors or lock in some kills. The huge hitbox makes it easier to hit, and you often accidentally hit survivors across the map due to how long it travels. If you hit someone with Entanglement when you're next to them, I would recommend running up and using Mass Infection. If they don't break out in time, you will deal huge damage with both hits from this ability. If they do break out, you can still hit them with a massive projectile, which can be really hard to dodge from such close range. Rejuvenate the Rotten is best saved for last man standing, as not only will you cover the map in annoying zombies, they can be extremely helpful in letting you catch the survivor. Getting speed from each zombie killed makes Onex the best killer for last man standing, as it can be nearly impossible to escape from them if they get a good chain of zombies. That, paired with some powerful projectiles and attacks that inflict poison, Onex is a force to be reckoned with. But he has some huge flaws. As I mentioned, he is very dependent on landing his Entanglement to catch up with survivors. Someone who is good at the game will pay close attention to when Onex wants to throw out a projectile, so unless you are quite close or you make a very good prediction, it can be very inconsistent to land. And that kind of summarizes Onex. He's inconsistent. If you land all your projectiles, you will annihilate the lobby and nobody can compete. But if you can't hit anything, you're gonna get cooked. He's also very map dependent, with him excelling on flat maps, as that allows his projectiles to pick up accidental kills. I'm gonna rank him as a solid A tier. He's still a powerful killer with a ton of great abilities, but he has some pretty big flaws. Now, for our final killer, we have Noli. Noli is one of the most unique killers in the game, sporting an extremely interesting kit. He's also ranked as a 5-star difficulty, but that's mainly because his abilities are very in-depth, and their effects change depending on their circumstances. He's not that hard to use. They have 1111 health, a walk speed of 7.5, a sprint speed of 27.5, and a terror radius of 80 studs, which is the biggest in the game. They have 2 different passive abilities, which are both arguably the most complicated and interesting in the game. His first and main passive ability is Hallucination. Several of Noli's abilities will inflict hallucination upon survivors, which will display various, well, hallucinations. The severity and amount of hallucinations will depend on the level. For example, you see 1 hallucination at level 1, 2 at level 2, etc. At level 1, the hallucinations you can witness are timer displaying wrong info, objectives count displaying wrong info, and Noli unleash chase music playing when he's not actually nearby. At level 2, fake pizzas and fake dispensers will appear, which will give you fake HP. This health disappears after hallucination fades. Finally, at level 3, a fake Noli will spawn in and chase you, which will appear to deal damage, but actually doesn't. So, these hallucinations can make the game quite stressful. His second passive ability is Prankster, which places fake generators in slots where real generators did not spawn. If a survivor solves a puzzle in a fake generator, they receive a level of hallucination. If you complete the entire generator, they will get hallucination 3, and the generator will reset. You can tell if a generator is fake based on the noises it makes, so the survivors have to be careful and pay attention. His first ability is Stab, where Noli uses his Shadow Tendril to attack forward, dealing 25 damage and having a windup of 0.4 seconds. It has the same hitbox as Jason and a cooldown of 1.8 seconds. His second ability is Void Rush. In order to activate this ability, you need to hold down the key for 1 second. If you let go early, it will be cancelled. Noli will begin rushing forward, and you can slightly steer the movement. The rush will continue until you hit a survivor, obstacle, let go of the key, or the meter runs out. If you hit a survivor, they will take 10 damage and receive hallucination 2. After 0.8 seconds, you can perform a re-rush. Hitting a survivor with hallucination 2 will cause you to slam them into the ground, dealing an extra 40 damage for a total of 50. The ability has a cooldown of 20 seconds. His third ability is Nova. Noli throws his Void Star after a 0.78 second windup, which can be aimed using your cursor. It explodes on impact, pulling survivors in and dealing 15 damage. If you hit a survivor or wall, it has a huge explosion. However, if you hit the ground, the explosion will be much smaller. You can also choose to manually detonate it by clicking the ability again. This results in the same smaller explosion. His final ability is Observant. Once activated, all generators across the map are highlighted. Upon selecting one, Noli will teleport to it after 1.45 seconds. Once teleported, every survivor will receive a different level of hallucination depending on how close they are. 20 studs away equals level 1, 60 equals level 2, and 100 equals level 3. So this ability can be great to spread hallucination across the map. Noli's greatest strength is definitely his incredible movement capabilities. Void Rush can help you cover a significant portion of the map and catch up to survivors running away. And if someone is on the other side of the map, you can easily get to them using the teleport. Nobody is ever far away if you're using Noli. Void Rush is also extremely powerful, dishing out some serious damage. If you can chain the attack between a couple survivors, you can quickly rack up a ton of damage across the lobby. Even if you just hit one person twice, that's 50 damage and it's pretty easy to land. It's like combining Jason's Gashing Wound and Cool Kid's Walk Speed Override, then allowing you to steer it. Just make sure there aren't any walls nearby that they can quickly hide behind, because you can't turn that sharply. But you aren't nearly as punished for missing this move as you are with Cool Kid, since you can cancel it whenever you want. It's a very good move. Void Star is great as well due to how easy it can be to hit if you're in a closed area. It excels on maps like Horror Hotel, since it can clip through walls, and if survivors don't have a lot of area to move, it can be nearly impossible to dodge. However, if they are in an open space, it can be hard to land, so don't just blindly throw it out. Also, it's not really worth using during a chase, since 15 damage isn't that much, and it will let the survivor gain a ton of distance. A fun use of this ability is to pull survivors off of ledges. You can catch some survivors off guard and save time running up to them. He does have some issues though. Unfortunately, while it is a cool mechanic, the hallucinations don't really matter. No hallucinations deal any actual damage and cannot harm survivors. The only hallucination that will ever mess up a survivor is the fake Noli, since they can end up wasting their stamina running away. But after a few games, it's so easy to tell if the Noli is fake. They run in a perfect straight line towards you, which no killer is ever gonna do. They lock onto you like a homing missile and keep pressing up against you. Real killers would use more punishing abilities like Void Rush. His stab attack is also arguably the worst primary attack in the game, dealing below average damage, applying no special effect, and having a 0.4 second windup. This attack is an essential part of every killer's damage dealing, which is just gonna make it harder for Noli to kill people. Also, if survivors are careful and stay away from open areas, you may struggle with landing the Void Rush, which is otherwise his best form of dealing damage. Because of all of these issues, I'm gonna rank him as a solid A tier above Onex. But to be honest, they're pretty much both as good, which is why I put them both at A tier. He's a lot more consistent than Onex, and his movement options are incredible, but he's held back by his primary attack, and his damage output is quite dependent on one ability. If all of the survivors are pretty careful and stay near corners they can hide behind, or if you're playing against a lot of guests who can easily block your Void Rush, you may struggle to pick up kills. But with that, that's it for this video. This is my final tier list, so feel free to screenshot and flame me, or just let me know how you feel in the comments below. A killer's performance will highly depend on what survivors you're facing, so some games, a killer will feel a lot better or a lot worse than it actually is. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Miku da yo.